And you are being recorded. So, welcome to the Minnow Support Project. This is the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty Network, and you are listening to MSP Waves Radio. I am your host, Skanky J, and I have on with me junior moderator Clay Boyne. And Clay, it is wonderful to have you on the show tonight. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. What did you think of that interview with David? Doesn't he seem like a great guy?
Actually, I thought it was pretty good. I've seen a couple of his videos, and while I don't identify as left, I definitely like his style, and I mean, I pretty much resonate with that. So,
Yeah, I started pretty far progressive left, and I'm not sure that I've abandoned all of those values. You know, I still think that everybody deserves to have education. I think everybody deserves to have health care. I think everybody deserves to have a lot of these things. I just think that the way that we can have nice things isn't necessarily through giving Democrats and Republicans more power. So I agree with a lot of his mission statement if he's progressive. I'm just not sure that I like the execution path. But him as a person, I think he's fantastic, and I think it's a boon to have him on the network.
definitely agreed.
So, what do you want to? What was on your mind when you came in to hear? Was this Bidbot stuff? What else?
Okay, so just to be clear, I do want to have a little bit of a philosophy discussion, but it's not directly about bitbots. But I have one very important business thing we have to take care of first.
Okay.
We have to tell Son happy birthday.
Oh, Sun, is Sun Ravelme in the? There she is. Sun Ravelme, happy birthday. Hopefully you saw the. If you guys don't know why he's going as Glitterbeard, in honor of Sun Ravelme's birthday, Clay was a good sport and sprinkled all kinds of glitter into his beard, and sent me a photo of that. So not only do you have that sexy deep voice, but you're a charmer.
Okay, so on to the philosophy discussion at hand. If we look at what's going on the platform, we look at like the whole bid bots, the delegation, and I feel like if we try to look at the core principle behind it and why so many people are against it, I think the fundamental question comes down to: are we building something different, or are we just building an anarcho-capitalist society?
All right. So why don't you? Um, while there are people that care about politics, there probably are some that don't. And even those that do might not know exactly what anarcho capitalism is. Can you give some thought or definition of that? Can you talk through what that
Uh,
even means to people? Give
yeah.
us some defining words to start this.
Okay, I think we should be focused on creating other incentives for platform investment, i.e., changing curation is like the primary reason to invest in the platform.
Hold on, no, you got to answer the question. You're saying that we're going towards anarcho capitalism. What does ANCAP even mean?
Okay, yeah, my bad. Okay, so basically, anarcho capitalism is whoever has the most money has the most power, they win. The end of the discussion. Basically, you're going to have power battles back and forth. Whoever can flag the hardest nullifies the other person's opinion, basically.
I mean, this is a stake weighted platform. There's certainly some of that is happening here. Sound
Right,
lost. Hold on.
right.
Is everybody? We might have lost sound for a second. Are we? Can somebody? Can you guys tell me that you're back, or can you say? There's like 8 million people saying lost fed. We're restarting the bot now, playing live. Valued customer is saying he can hear fine, but that's because Ron's in the room. It's good. It's back. All right, we're back on. So, Clay, can you go? I'm sorry to make you do this a third time. Can you go tell me what an ANCAP is?
Okay, so basically, in an anarcho-capitalist society, it's whoever has the most money slash power wins. Like it's basically going to be a constant fight.
So we have some of that inherent in the system. I mean, that's exactly what stake weight does. Is that it's not like a fully democratic one person one vote. It's you know one steam power one vote, and it doesn't have to be equal amongst all of the people and all the accounts. So there, I mean, I agree with you that that's certainly built into this. Maybe that's not all that this is, but there is certainly a strong element of that.
Right. So, but what I'm trying to say is to get away from that point, we should be basically there's two schools of thought. Either you make it more lucrative for investors to basically invest in a platform to milk SBD out of it, which is what they're doing with bidbots and running delegation, or you take the other approach and you empower curation, which basically empowers a gifting economy.
How do you what? So there's not a command line in a hard fork that I could type in and say empower curation plus 15%. Like empower curation doesn't have like a programming term. So how would you describe that in your system? What would that look like? What features would change? How does voting alter because of that? What are you proposing more specifically than enhanced curation?
Well, basically, we already know this is possible because curation's already changed from 50-50 to 75-25. So there is entirely a way to code make this happen. But what I'm saying is essentially, if you made it to where curation was more profitable than the other options, then from a business standpoint, it makes sense, correct?
Well, it kind of depends on how you do this. There's certainly unintended consequences, and those are the ones that I look out for. People get really revved up about this one thing, and then kind of ignore all the unintended consequences that come along with it. So I'm trying to
Well, I mean,
figure out.
we could make that same exact argument about bidbots right now, but I'm trying to not make this about bidbots.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. So what I'm really trying to get down to is like, uh, so what change would you actually make to the platform to empower curation? Because there's likely a number of different ways to do this, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what you're proposing.
I'm proposing you change curation rewards to greater than 50%.
So one of the conversations that a lot of the witnesses are talking about is making it on the front end basically a part of condenser, giving people control of how much of their rewards they want to go to curation. So not just having it be a set amount, but actually being able to choose as the author how much you want to go back to curation. So some of that's actually out there and already being discussed. Maybe not tons of that publicly, but I know that that's one of the options that the witnesses are sort of bouncing around.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, we come down to is this a platform for content or is this a platform to play the lottery?
Well, both of those I think can actually support one another. Um, like people like doing lotteries. There's millions and millions of dollars that do that. Bid bots and other things end up being investments, and investments end up growing the price of Steam, and the price of Steam ends up encouraging curation and authoring. So, like, I don't know how much awesome content I saw when Steam was 7 cents. I know that I kept posting. I posted less frequently, and when Steam is up at $2 or something, I certainly feel more inclined to do that. But it is hard to have that without also having investment. And investment, I think, can support this place. One way to invest is bid bots. So we might dislike bid bots, but I do like investment. So I'm not against. So that's a long-winded way to say one of the ways that the witnesses are considering doing that is to make it up to the author to figure out what proportion of rewards they want to go back to the curators.
Right. And see, I actually think the opposite. I don't think that should be a choice because I think to encourage investors and to, okay, basically, investors are coming for the money, right? Like, they don't really care how they get the money. If you make the money come from curation versus the money come from running a bot, how is this any different to them if all they care about is money?
One of them would be time, and I don't think that all investors are only motivated by money. I mean, I think there are people that are delegating and doing it because they like the mission of this place and not necessarily expecting an immediate reward from that. We have a couple people that are sitting on delegations in this audience from people that are supporting them because they think that they're good for the platform. So not all of the investors in here are looking for immediate returns.
Right.
Um,
So it seems like those would be the people that would fundamentally support exactly what I'm saying.
um, yeah, I mean, I think I like, this is a liberty group. I think I like the idea that you don't set it at 50, and I don't tell you what percent of curation rewards you're going to earn. I allow a free market to determine what level of curation I have to offer back to my audience to go get votes on it. And I think I'm okay with that. I think the more freedom that we give people to have flexibility in the system, I think that will create a healthier dynamic.
I mean, I can definitely see that where it creates some people it's profitable to run bid bots for, and other people it's basically more profitable just to create quality content and give some back to the people voting for you.
Yep. And I think having that as an option is good. I mean, if that ends up as a accepted pull request and that turns into a hard fork or something, depending on what else they want to package with that hard fork, I think I'd be pretty open to supporting that with my 1 in 20 vote there. Um, so I could see that going through. I could be supportive of allowing independent users to figure out what level of curation they want going back. And I think that would be quite healthy for this platform.
I mean, just for example, there are actual wells out there that have said that they would curate if curation rewards are fixed. I mean, I'm talking about like legit wells like Snowflake, Bernie Sanders. You know, Bernie was actually heavily involved in Curie at first.
Oh yeah, well he ran engagement. I mean, part of the reason I'm still here is because the he helped get all kinds of funds to engagement, and engagement was running around upvoting everything. I mean, that dude gets a bad rep, but there's probably more people on this platform that have been voted by him than almost anybody else. They just didn't know it was him.
Right. And what I'm trying to say is, like, I totally acknowledge that if you're going to invest in this platform and put money into it, you should be able to profit. So I get that running BitBots is essentially a way to do that. I'm thinking there's a better way for the platform to survive off of content and still accomplish that same goal.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a variety of ways to do that, and I think that the more flexibility users have to decide for themselves, and therefore the market can choose what is best, I'm going to support that. So I like the idea of being flexible. I don't think I'd like to see, hey, we are going to set a hard new number for everybody. If we're going to go to the effort of like changing how it works, I think I would be a much stronger proponent for let individuals decide rather than let Steam it tell you what you get.
Yeah, I mean, that decision alone could very well be the thing that makes them realize one way or the other works better for them. And the people that are just using Bitbots to upload spam posts are going to essentially be getting flagged anyway. So I think as long as it's adjustable to where you can pay curators fairly, I think it's fine.
Now that fair is a pretty big subjective, but I so
Oh, I'm
let's
talking about from a well perspective, like where you're holding millions of dollars worth of steam and you literally have to see a return on that investment to justify it staying there. I mean, it's got to be fair to make something off of that.
yep. Yeah, I mean I want to support our investors most certainly. That I'm just like I'm in this weird spot of I really want to support minnows, which is the vast majority of people, and one of the ways to support them is to support investment on the platform because that will raise all their rewards. So I like in some ways I'm trying to figure out the overlap on the Venn diagram between where investors stand and where minnows stand, and how we can collaborate to make it profitable for the investors to be here and curating content, and profitable for the minnows to be creating content. And within that, we'll have a nice, healthy, growing ecosystem.
Right. And I guess I just feel like my concern is if content is not the core focus of the platform, then you might as well just be running, Fortune Jack or something. You might as well just have a casino because people will come to waste their time and lose money. I mean, that's, obvious. People do that all day. So, but if we're going to make this an actual platform about content, like a social media platform, whatever you want to call it, then I think content has to first and foremost be like the focus.
Well, I think we already have good content here. I think the content is the focus for lots of people, and and I think that Liberty would say you can have both. I don't need to choose between investors and content. I should be able to figure out ways to support both.
Hopefully.
All right. So you've been listening to Clayboyne, who is currently known as Glitterbeard. It's fantastic to have you on the show, Glitterbeard. I'm going to pull you off at this point, and I'm going to go bring on my next guest. The next guest, I got to go stop my recording and